Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Inner Circle. Today, we're looking at three chronograph wristwatches, three chronograph watches that are in shaped cases. Of course, by definition, any watch case is shaped, but in this case, no pun intended, I'm talking about pieces that have non round cases. We're gonna talk about three pieces that are in and of themselves quite stunning and I think uh, very significant in their own way. And we're starting with the jaeger-lecoultre reverso transport retrograde chronograph. This is the tonneau shaped case for the reverso, the barrel shaped case, it is understood to be the sportier version of the reverso, of the classic reverso, that never quite caught on. I'm talking about the sportier version. More recently, larger cases seem to have struck a chord with some collectors, but different design interpretations of the iconic Art Deco rectangular case have not enjoyed the same success. This particular piece, I believe, is only slightly larger than the anti case that has become a mainstay in its own right. That is 26 by 42. This particular piece is 28.3 millimeters wide and 43.5 millimeters tall. As I mentioned at the very beginning, the case has that classic tonneau shape, a barrel shape with a four-pronged lug structure that integrates it into the five-link matching beads of rice slash engineer style bracelet. Of course, this is still a swiveling case. And as you can see, this piece has the same base caliber that jaeger-lecoultre introduced for the first time in 1996 with their chronograph retrograde in 500 in a 500 piece limited edition as caliber 8 to 9, and that they have just reintroduced and reinterpreted as caliber 860 for their new reverso tribute chronograph. This caliber is called 859, and unlike the two calibers that bookended, both the 1996 limited edition and the current tribute chronograph, this piece is not skeletonized or open worked in any way. I have to say, both in terms of its aesthetics and in terms of its more conservative proportions, it provides a very good alternative to the current tribute chronograph, which I think is rather too large. And I think for this particular case shape, even if the proportions are right, it just doesn't quite work when the case is too large. And of course, as a value proposition, this is a great alternative to both of those pieces, both the original 1996, one of 500 pieces, limited edition, and the current version. And it has its unique aesthetic, which might actually make it quite appealing. The recto side of the dial, the main side of the dial, is designed uh, as a sporty interpretation of the original, with broadsword hands, dagger-styled um, indices that are laid out like so many rays of sunshine around the dial. The center of the dial, in an unusual way, has a waffle-like texture. Arabic numbers are 3 and 9. There's a trapezoid-shaped aperture uh, for the date indicator at 6 o'clock, and an applied jaeger-lecoultre logo, JL logo, at 12 o'clock. Um, Sweep center seconds, which is rather unique for a reverso, especially a reverso with a hand wound caliber. And as you can see, that mail post flag like indicator for the chronograph activity at 5 o'clock, which says marche when it is actually working. When you engage the chronograph, that's mailpost flag styled indicator simply falls down and exposes the French word for running, marche, inscribed in red. This is the anthracite gray version of the dial. I think there's also a version with a white dial, and on the back, naturally, you find the chronograph seconds in this oversized counter, which has kind of a cobblestone texture. And at the 6 o'clock position of that verso um, dial, you have a fan-like scale for the 30-minute totalizer, which has a similar cobblestone-like decoration at its center, and the minutes are indicated by a lozenge-shaped loomed hand in retrograde fashion, snapping back to 0 when the totalizer completes its 30-minute cycle. The chronograph seconds hand on the back is centrally deployed and is in the same shape, with a finely tipped arrow that is red at that tip as well. Beautiful stainless steel, sporty version of the reverso with the chronograph function, retrograde minutes, very original piece, and an incredible deal, if you ask me. This is listed by a professional dealer out of Brazil. It comes with a jaeger-lecoultre travel case and nothing else. And the fixed price for this piece on Chrono 24 is 6,287. Next up, we're looking at the Cartier Tortue Monopoussoir. This is the classic tonneau/turtle shaped Cartier design, originally from the Roaring 20s. a single button chronograph, classically styled, with a bicompax dial layout. This piece was released as part of Collection Privée Cartier Paris, the private collection of Cartier Paris, which between 1998 and 2008 offered a number of very interesting and collectible pieces at the juncture where Cartier's iconic archival designs met with high horological complications, inventions, and interpretations, some of which were provided um, from the in-house experts of Cartier. Others uh, were executed in collaboration with emergent independent watchmakers. In this case, the original monopusher chronograph movement of Cartier was reinterpreted, reimagined by two watchmakers by the name of François Porjon and Denis Flageolet, whom we know of F.B. Jean and De Bethune, respectively, today. They had at the time manufacture kind of movements workshop in Technique Horlogère Appliquée, THA, which for a short time also involved Vianney Alter. This particular movement, a hand-wound column wheel chronograph with a lateral clutch, is called 045MC, and it is stunningly beautiful as you can peek into it from this porthole-like opening on the back with its bridges extravagantly, even excessively decorated with the embossed double wishbone logo of Cartier, as it was rather the tradition at the time. We have an 18 karat pink gold case, a silver dial produced out of a gold blank and decorated by engine turning with a rosette-like decoration or a wave decoration that emanates from under the hand stack. The hands are heat blued and styled in the shape of apples or pomme for the hour and minutes, in the style we also call simply breguet today. Roman numerals, a railroad track for the minutes and seconds. These Roman numerals are elongated and stylized in Cartier's usual fashion, with a watchmaker's 4 and a secret signature at 7 o'clock. The octagonal crown, which also serves as the pusher for the chronograph, allowing for this neat, classic, balanced appearance, is finally topped off with a faceted cut sapphire. The 18 karat pink gold case is matched with a traditionally styled Cartier déployant clasp in pink gold as well. The case diameter is around 37 by 38. The pink gold version, I believe, is understood to have been produced in about 300 pieces. 30-minute totalizer at 3 o'clock and continuous running seconds at 9. As a side note, versions of this particular movement have been used later on by Denis Flageolet in his tenure at De Bethune for the DB1 monopusher chronograph, DB8 with a single register at 6 o'clock with a 45-minute totalizer, also called the football timer, and the more recent DB8 with the 8 spelled out in English, which was released in the last Watches and Wonders. This particular piece is a little on the saltier side in terms of the price point, but the pink gold version is usually the best value, with the white gold with an oversized single Arabic numeral and blue accents on the dial, fetching usually the highest premium. The fixed price, the buy, I shouldn't say fixed price because there's an option for bids as well. The buy it now option is set at 37,995 by a professional dealer out of the United States who has listed this piece on Chrono 24, but they remain open to negotiation, so feel free to submit a bid that is more properly aligned for the budget you set for this watch. Such a presentation would not be complete without talking about one of my favorite watchmakers and one of my all-time favorite watch shapes. And we're talking about Daniel Roth. This is a Daniel Roth Masters chronograph with the reference number S247. It comes from the hourglass era, so to speak, in stainless steel with a black dial in his signature vertical pinstripes as a guilloche decoration, and of course in his signature case shape, in his original case shape of the double ellipse curvex, of which the dimensions are 38 by 41 millimeters roundabout. Of course, the chronograph was always very important for Daniel Roth. One of the first pieces he introduced when he was spearheading the Breguet revival under the patronage of the Chomet brothers, and also with the help of François Baudet, who was at the time the CEO of Breguet. One of the first models he introduced was the 3230, 3237, the hand-wound Breguet chronograph wristwatch that was built on the base of Lemania CH27. He carried over elements of this design when he sets up shop as an independent, when he had to leave Breguet with the financial ruin caused by the Chomet brothers in 1989. Daniel Roth set off on his own path, and one of the first pieces he introduced as an independent was a chronograph built on the Lemania et Bosch with the reference C147. And of course, when the Hourglass acquired his brand for the second half of the 90s, before they moved it on to Bulgari, before they sold it off to Bulgari, they had the impetus to introduce models that were more accessible and perhaps more available for serial production. That's when um, s- stainless steel cases started coming into the picture in larger volumes. And that's when the chronograph started using, probably in a way you can already tell by the layout, a Zenit El Primero caliber 400 as its base, continuous running seconds at 9 o'clock, 30-minute totalizer at 3, and a 12-hour counter at 6 o'clock. And you have the date window lodged between 4 and 5 o'clock. Polished beads behind the Roman numerals as hour markers, and arrow hands that are loomed at the tip. A beautiful design, a stunning but accessible self-winding chronograph by Daniel Roth, which also provides here our middle price point. This particular piece comes with its original box, but no papers. It is listed as a blue dial, but I have a really hard time seeing it, so I continued calling it black. It might be a very deep shade of navy blue, but I have seen blue versions of this chronograph and they look very distinctly blue compared to this. So I will just leave it at that. The piece comes with two sets of straps and also uh, the original half ellipse buckle of Daniel Roth as well, by a private seller out of Spain on Chrono 24. The buy it now price is 11,127 in US dollars, but they remain open to negotiation as well. So feel free to send in an offer. This particular piece has to be my pick of the litter. I love the shape. I love the complication. I love the maker. And it is, in fact, good value for the money. It is, in fact, a very good value proposition at this point in time, especially as the Daniel Roth brand is once again on the ascendance, having been revived by Louis Vuitton within the premises of La Fabrique du Temps under the leadership of master watchmakers Michel Navas and Enrico Barbazini, who are also in the process of reviving Gérard Jantin. It remains to be seen whether these watches will be available ever in serially produced numbers and in accessible, obtainable ways, which, of course, is a good sign to pick some of these pieces up before they might shoot through the roof in terms of the price point. The Daniel Roth Masters Chronograph, reference S247 in stainless steel. The Cartier CPCP Tortue XL monopusher chronograph in 18 karat pink gold, and jaeger-lecoultre reverso grand sport chronograph retrograde in stainless steel on the matching bracelet. If you have any questions about these particular listings, if you have any watch related questions whatsoever, Please find me on Instagram at young.brando. You can also write an email to me at lordhellespont5@gmail.com. That is lordhellespont@gmail.com. And of course, you should feel absolutely free to reach out to me here on Patreon. Take care, everyone.